Welcome to A Real Authority. I am not a major Billie Eilish fan. I like a lot of her songs, but I mean James Cameron is James Cameron, so of course I saw Billie Eilish hit me hard and soft the tour live in 3D. There's not really any plot aside from the fact that it's a theatrical version of her famous tour. So you can sit, chillax, get the vibes, listen to songs you either know or you'll probably like and want to listen to again and again. See what I mean when I say I'm not major Billie Eilish fan? I of course knew of her since like 2019 when she broke on the scene with a lot of songs from I think When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I mean, yeah, a lot of those songs everybody knows the lyrics to, especially Bad Guy. But again, James Cameron is one of the most famous directors of all time. Even if the Avatar movies are not your thing, you still got Terminator, Aliens, underrated gems in True Lies, and also icons like Titanic. So yeah, I was of course interested, and in the case of Avatar Fire and Ash, I knew that a lot of the elements that made that a theatrical experience, regardless of the quality of the actual movie, would be translated here. Awesome 3D technology, an FPS that is unlike any other movie you've seen, unless there are other 3D movies I don't know about that actually incorporate a fast frames per second rate. And also, again, a lot of Billie Eilish songs I actually do know and actually do like. So of course I would have a good time with those. And I like collecting movie memorabilia. This is not factoring into the score, but I got these suckers from today's Showtime, and I was lucky enough to get these from the early access, even though I just saw it today. Regardless of all that, I might as well actually be objective and refocus my video onto how the movie actually was. I think you are guaranteed to have a good time, but your enjoyment will definitely depend on how big of a fan or how in the know you are of Billie Eilish's music. Like, I respect her music and I like a lot of the songs. Plus, some from this set list I'm actually interested in listening to again. And I feel like Billie Eilish, as well as the rest of the crew, really just designed a concert that really feels like a simple yet large scale experience, not just on the big screen, although the big screen, I mean, it does translate a lot of the magic of attending in person, although I really wasn't there for the Hit Me Hard and Soft tour when it was actually live. I'm not sure if it's still live, but this was a movie translation and a bit of a passion project for Billie Eilish. Like, even though James Cameron's the director, Eilish is actually co-directing with him. I feel like that pairing of Eilish and Cameron makes the best possible experience out of this movie and really does translate it to the theatrical landscape instead of just feeling like a straight recording of the actual concert, even though that still would have been cool. Given James Cameron's knack for absolutely incredible 3D, that just adds another layer of intrigue as well as excitement and engagement with this movie. Seeing it in Dolby 3D is probably the best way to see it because Dolby 3D really utilizes the technology that pretty much has made James Cameron an icon, especially in that field. I mean, he was already a legend, but I feel like the Avatar films, as well as this one and probably the other movies he's released in 3D, or at least has a hand in developing the 3D, like, I do feel like that's a perfect marriage. And for this Billie Eilish concert, it's just mind blowing. Say what you will about Billie Eilish and your feelings on her, you cannot deny the fact that this feels like a theatrical experience and is a theatrical experience, and that's what Cameron pioneers. And so adding Eilish to the mix, it just comes across as a marriage made in heaven. Plus, it really does injects a bit of a personal side to it. Like, it's not just the concert, it actually goes into the making of the concert, as well as Eilish's perspective on it. Like, you really do get a deep insight into her hard work into putting this concert together. Like, it doesn't entirely focus on that, but it does find its way in between the absolute spectacle that is the concert itself. And I feel like that weavement does work. With that said, because it's really hard to review a concert movie because it's really just the concert you want, but theatrical. But I do feel like this is a case of this was designed for the diehard Billie Eilish fans, which I definitely do respect, and I have no problem with that. And for those in the know, you'll definitely find yourself tap into the beat of a lot of the songs. But I do feel, in terms of knowledge of the catalog, it's kind of necessary in order to get the full enjoyment out of it. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it, I really did. But you'll probably hear a lot of songs that you're probably not aware of, so you can't exactly engage with it as much as you want. Again, there were a lot of songs which I didn't hear beforehand that I can imagine myself listening to time and time again, but I really do feel that you'll probably only recognize the familiar ones and probably not vibe as much with the ones that you haven't heard beforehand, which is why I say it's kind of more for the diehard fans than like casual moviegoers. But given the fact that Cameron kind of pioneers this medium of like 3D technology as well as just the theatrical experience, it more than makes up for the lack of attachment to Billie Eilish beforehand. However, if this is your first time, the music might actually work for you. I mean, you gotta give it a chance after all. Maybe I'm going in circles. That's because I really do not have a lot of things to say about a concert film. Basically, everything that I could say about this movie has probably already been said about the actual show. But given James Cameron's at the helm, I kind of had to give my 2 cents about it. Also, it's a movie. But again, diehard fans will probably enjoy it a lot more than people like me who've only heard like a decent amount of the songs, which can lead to tedium for those not in the know. But if you're like the people in the auditorium, diehard Billie Eilish fans can basically sing along to all her songs in a heartbeat, you're definitely going to love this. But for me, a casual listener, it's pretty good. The Real Authority approves. How much you'll enjoy it will depend on how attached you are to Billie Eilish, but you probably will enjoy it nonetheless. Still prefer what these guys did, but you know what? For what it is, I had fun with it. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and comment your thoughts on the movie, and let me know what your favorite Billie Eilish song is. Maybe give me recommendations of the songs that weren't on the set list that you think are underrated or absolutely fantastic. Alright, peace.